Good morning, everyone. Today is April 8th, 2021, and this is SCD community meeting. Let's start with our item on the agenda. Admit two members. All right. Lily. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Is that just me or? No.
Also can't.
No, I think we see. There's some noise. But all right. Okay. How about Nate? Let's start with your item first. I have a long list.
Yeah, sorry, it's a bit of a busy month. Hello, everyone. So I just wanted to give you folks, an update on how the website work is going. We've brought Patrice Chalin on, so we've been working together on the updates that we've been doing. We've been primarily this last couple of weeks been doing cleanup activities, and everything that we're doing in terms of cleanup, we're trying to hit the master branch so that as we do the Doxy conversion work, we can just rebase Doxy onto master, and all of the cleanup and updates sort of pass over. One of the major pieces of cleanup is moving from, as we discussed last time, moving from a patch release to a major minor release. So we're going from xy.z to just x.y. And that's in now. And we've changed what was current to next. And the idea around next is that any upcoming work or changes in the etcd.io etcd repo, so the main repo, can be documented in next in preparation for any upcoming releases. This does mean, though, that we need to do some maintenance on the version 3.4 just to make sure that it's as up to speed as it can be for the content there, because now 3.4 is what's considered the latest release. So next is upcoming stuff, and 3.4 is latest. So it should also be being updated as patch releases come out for 3.4. I do have an open PR trying to bring some of the next stuff into 3.4. And so I just like somebody to put a set of eyes on that, just to make sure that it is appropriate. I want to make sure that there's no 3.5 stuff in there, but I want to make sure that the stuff that was written into the what was then current folder is appropriately now arranged in 3.4. So the next thing, all of our internal links now have been fixed. There are no broken internal links throughout the site. So I'm happy. Yeah. We still have some work to do with external links, but I've started that work, and I'm hoping that will actually be a little bit easier than some of the internal links work was. So that's been sorted out. Again, as per our conversation last month, I opened up an information architecture issue request for comment. So thank you. I think Piotr, you commented on it, but other than yourself, there hasn't been a whole lot of people looking at that just yet. So I'd like to suggest, I suggested lazy consensus I think that what is there is good, and we can probably move forward on it. But if people do want to comment, I'm still very, very happy for feedback and comment on that. So, and moving forward, if people comment on this particular ticket, I'll still take that into consideration, obviously. I'm sorry, I'm getting clicking in my ear here. Something came up that I wanted to bring to the community attention, and that is a PR for Chinese translation. Someone is, what I think has happened is there is an etcd.cn, and someone has been translating the site into Chinese for that site. And I think what they've done is they forked the etcd.io site, and this PR seems like a PR that was mispointed. So it looks like they're making changes as if this were for the .cn site, but it does bring up a very interesting point, and that is there's clearly a need for this internationalization, and I very much want to encourage it. And I think that the overhaul that we're working on will make this type of internationalization quite a bit easier. I'm hoping, and in fact, if you look at the Doxy branch as it is now, it's got, instead of being content docs and just like the versions, I've actually split that out now to content docs en, and then the versions. So we do, I am starting, and I'm keeping internationalization in mind as we do this work, so that projects like this can be hopefully brought in. But I wanted to bring it to your attention just because I hadn't heard anybody talking about internationalization yet, and that there is an etcd.cn is interesting. So I thought I would bring it up here. Next, I don't know if you want to talk about that now, or if I should move on to my next item.
Do you know how Kubernetes is doing the internationalization?
They have a special interest group for each of the languages that they are translating into, and they are running a variant of the Doxy theme, like what we're moving towards, and they are doing it. So under their docs folder, they have en, fr, es. Like I'm starting on our Doxy. So this is something that is I'm hoping to keep what we're doing on the Doxy conversion branch in line with some of how the other projects are using Doxy. That's part of the advantage of doing that conversion, is having that as a sort of something we can look to.
Yep.
And so in terms of the way Kubernetes does it, like I said, there's a SIG for each one, and I think that there's an overarching localization or internationalization SIG as well, which helps coordinate all of this work. And I think if we are sort of going to move towards that, it's likely something that's going to need some coordination from the maintainers group, I think. So. Sorry, I'm just getting. Okay, so moving on to my next thing, we've opened up an etcd docs channel, the SCNCF. Oops.
Oh, I probably messed up the presentation thing. Let me start it again. There.
Okay. There we go. So just again, just an informational thing. We've opened up an etcd docs channel on the CNCF Slack. In there, we've actually got some analytics stuff that Patrice has found. If you're interested in seeing some of the traffic and whatnot, it's just opened up as a place to talk about documentation for the etcd project. Next, the new Doxy branch has we've created a Doxy branch on the website repo, and that is where we're going to be doing the work of the Doxy conversion. And as like I said before, as we make updates to the master branch, we're going to be rebasing this onto master periodically just to make sure that any changes that happen in master, new releases, updates to links and copy and whatnot get brought over as well. But this will be the primary spot where the work for the conversion gets done. And at the end, we'll merge this in, and hopefully it'll be a quick merge because we'll have been rebasing the whole time through. And there's also a tracking issue. So you can see issue number 134. You can see what we are anticipating needing to do, what we're doing. Every check should have an issue or a PR associated with it. And as I do the rebases, because this isn't a PR, I have set up Netlify to build the Doxy branch whenever it gets built. So PRs into Doxy and the Doxy branch itself, if we have to do a rebase, will get built, and I'll drop links into this issue. So if you want to see, if you subscribe to this issue, if you want to watch our progress, I guess is what I'm suggesting. And then lastly, on my list of things to chat about is just with the 3.5 release upcoming, please drop any updates that are 3.5 related into the next folder. Don't add like a 3.5 yet. It's just if something is coming in for 3.5, the next folder will be copied when we do the release and will become the 3.5 folder, like we've got the 3.4 and the 3.3. So that's where the new documentation for all the new features can be brought in and then documented. And we don't need to wait for a release to bring that documentation in. The next folder, I think Peter sort of said it best, is for the developers using it and wanting to see what's coming up. So that's where that can go.
Thank you. That's a lot of things that you did. Thank you very much. Lily, are you ready to present your item?
I think so.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. It's Bluetooth every time and AirPods. Yeah, so as I was saying, I'm Lily. I joined the Redhead CD team, and Sam asked me if I can bring up, if me and Suresh can bring up a couple of points, mainly around testing the 3.4 next release with 1.15 Go. And we're happy to help out on any work around that, while still being compliant with the Go 1.12 version. So if we can discuss that, would be great, and get some consensus around it. And we also are wondering if we can help out in any way with the next release, having be Go 1.15 as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, as you know, the motivation is to keep in line with the Kubernetes. I know etcd is not just used for Kubernetes, but Kubernetes is one of the big things, right? So moving forward, 3.5 or others, how do we keep with new compilers, especially with upstream Kubernetes, whenever it is possible?
Do we know like what level of support do we need? So like I see two options potentially. Like one option is just to have Travis testing suite that covers additional run on 1.15. So some CI integration. The other potential aspect is that at some point in the release cycle, like we build the tarballs and the Docker images using the newer version. So let's say 3.4.16 starts to be built with Go 1.15 to potentially benefit from compiler optimizations. Do you care about both or one of these options?
I think starting with the CI would be great, and then moving onwards to compiling sounds great as well. So I think that from what I saw in master, CI already uses Go 1.15, right? Or
No.
Yes, and there is a bug to use actually 1.16 even for
nice,
3.5 release.
Yeah,
But
great.
Requires some minor work, mostly making the testing Docker image release.
Cool, nice, yeah. Is there any objections to going forward with testing in CI first and then moving onwards to the binaries as well?
Well, binaries is yeah. So what do you think, Peter? We will have multiple versions of binaries. One binary built with 112, another built with 115, or
historically, we were never releasing multiple tarballs depending on the Go versions, or I'm not aware about such releases. So I don't see any concerns, like any reasons to not include the additional suits in the Travis CI. That seems pretty straightforward. And master is already tested by 2 versions, I think 1.15 and something called tip, that it's the most recent, even unreleased version of Go. So this I think it's a good idea. I don't know to what degree some users of all the branches like 3.2 or 3.3 might be surprised or have something against getting different Go version in a patch release. I think so. I think according to previous meeting in Red Hat, you still use, for example, 3.2. So this might be a question whether, like, for 3.2 patch version, it's expected to go to new compiler or not.
So just to share the experience, recently we built 3.2, and 3.2 had the Go version of 1.8. Actually, Travis didn't even work correctly, and we had to bump the Travis compiler version to 1.12 for the test to actually work and to get some of the modules compiled properly. But right now, I think we 3.2 entirely we are maintaining it. I think last time we discussed that in the last community meeting. I think Red Hat will take care of it. I think we'll probably keep it at 1.8 or 1.12. But I think other releases, yeah, I think we can make decisions as we go. I think we can change Travis, as you said. We can try to keep, I think, Lily, but you had questions about how often you want to do these minor releases, how much we want to keep up with the compiler versions, right?
Yeah, if we want to, I think that Petra, you mentioned in the issue that to increase the cadence of the release, right?
So this is like my single person idea that, like, in general the releases make so infrequently, like every 18 or 20 months, are accumulating pretty a lot of risk when the release happens. So, like, frequent releases and frequent feedback, I think, would be healthier. but it requires some work of doing the releases. But it's what most of the open source projects doing for minor versions, like monthly or quarterly releases, and we treat a little bit minor releases currently like other projects consider major releases.
Yeah, I agree. I think that sums it up really nicely. Yeah, I think that I've heard from a couple of people as well that they would prefer a bit more of a frequent release cycle. So yeah, definitely. I think that we discussed internally briefly and said that we're happy to help out more on that as well.
Yeah, so yeah, thanks for working on this. So I don't think anybody is against frequent release as long as we have the test coverage. So I have another question. So I joined late. So have we discussed about like using Go 1.16 for 3.5 release?
Yeah, I think we said as well that we would like that as well because and as we use Kubernetes and Kubernetes in the latest one version uses 1.16, so
Okay.
that would work well.
Okay, yeah, thanks for working on this. Thanks.
Yeah, I think we have covered the two things on the agenda. Is there anything else anyone want to bring up? Just a quick reminding, I added a thread in the SED dev Google group that the feature freeze cutting date is Friday, May 14th. So next time will be the last time that we have SED 3.5 feature freeze before we have the feature freeze cutting date. So just a quick reminder. And if nothing else, I think that's it for our community meeting today.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Bye.